So today I'm going to be doing a Liberty session with Lenny, our very first one. So I'm going to kind of take y'all along with me. I might make this a series if it's something that interests y'all. But today's going to be day one of Liberty session with Lenny. So let's get to it. First and foremost, make sure that your horse is confident and comfortable with a lunge whip or whatever you may be using. You're more than likely going to need a lunge whip of some sort. The one I'm using is pretty short here today. I've got a long one as well that I will probably bring in a little bit later whenever it starts getting a little bit more fine picking. But right now it's his first day of a Liberty session work, so I don't want to overdo it and just overcomplicate things. Make sure your horse is comfortable and they're not terrified, and they're also not wanting to attack the Liberty stick, because that won't be good. And I'm just kind of starting to play around with this. I'm letting him just go in circles around me, because usually I'm always moving with him, so I want to be able to stand still and him not think he has to stop, or he can go the other direction and kind of go and do his own thing. I want him to know that he's still got to keep moving around, focusing on me, not thinking he can eat the grass that's in the round pen right now, because it's only going to get worse and he's just going to get more tempted. So as I have Lenny go in a circle around me, I'm going to ask him to change directions a few times. Just get him going around in a circle without eating. Have it go over my head a few times. There is one time in here that you're about to see that he stopped and hesitated and he gave me a little bit of attitude, so I had to get on to him. I'm not really fine picking things. I'm kind of just letting him get the feel for it. I'm not using treats in this part because Lenny can be a little mouthy, so if he gets treats a little too much, he starts to expect them and thinks that he deserves a treat every 2 seconds. So I have to be careful how many treats I give to the boys versus Cody. You can just give her pretty much whatever. But I didn't want to use treats in the beginning of this because I don't want him to think he always has to rely. So this is the part that I was telling you that he gave me a little sass. I was asking him to keep going. He wanted to kind of little hop up and give me a little sass, so I got onto him there a little bit. Made him work a little bit. He's on the wrong lead in the back, so I brought him back down, and then he ended up loping again. But it's okay. I don't really mind too much if he wants to go, as long as he just doesn't flip a switch and he stops paying attention to me. He kind of comes back down. We're going to keep working on these circles, which after that was his last little bit of sass. He started going back nice and calm on the circle, which is exactly what I wanted. And all of this is just basic knowledge of groundwork for your horse. So you don't need to be doing Liberty work if your horse has not done groundwork. Now, however, I don't do groundwork with Lenny every single day, but he has a foundation for it. So then I'm going to ask him to back up. This is how I get the horses to back up with that wiggle. I like them to be able to back up multiple ways. And a lot of times, even in the pasture, I can kind of just shake my hand and the horses will back up, which I like a lot. And I'm doing all this with a halter. Probably going to have many sessions in just a halter learning this before you go without the halter. At the end of this video, you're going to see me how I took the halter off just for fun. I kind of just wanted to see how he would do, and he actually did really well, surprisingly. For his first session, that is. I'm not surprised that he does well, because he gives his heart into everything and is super willing. And Lenny's very sensitive, so Rango would be a little bit more stubborn for this. I'd have to use a little bit more force. Lenny's pretty sensitive on his cues and very in tune with me and what I do, which helps for this a lot. The next thing I'm starting to incorporate with him is whenever the whip is up and even with his body, I want him to keep going and follow me. And whenever I put it on the ground and set it straight up and down, I want him to stop. Now, whenever I'm doing this, so I'm clucking to him when it goes up, he walks off really good. He's sensitive. If he didn't, I would kind of tap him on the shoulder or belly and be like, hey, come on, earth the Lenny, keep going. But he's very sensitive, so it helps a lot. Whenever I turn, I'm kind of laying it on his hindquarters as I walk backwards. I'm looking at him to kind of give him the same cue that I do whenever I'm asking him to lunge in a circle around me. And then whenever I put it down on the ground, that means stop. And whenever I do, I'm also saying, whoa. He stops, I pet him. If he keeps walking and it is down, I'm going to kind of yank on him and ask him to back up. But right now, I'm just working on little turns. In a second, I'm going to change and go the other way. And whenever I do so, I'm just going to switch my lead rope, switch my lunge whip, turn it to the other shoulder, put it to his stomach, and now I'm going to keep walking backwards and letting him follow along with me. If your horse seems to get a little bit ahead of themselves and they kind of want to push on you, ask them to stop like I kind of did there. And I'm just going to be like, hey, don't get ahead of yourself here. If they get really pushy, make sure they get out of your space, because this is not something you want your horse to be on top of you for if you don't want them there. Because the end goal, you're not going to have a halter on this horse. You don't want them thinking they can just run you over. So see here, I had to back Lenny up a little bit. I'm like, hey, get out of my bubble. To be honest, something that I would not recommend is going and taking the halter off for your first training session. However, I kind of just wanted to test my luck and see if Lenny would do any better or worse. And in the beginning, he was like, what the heck do you want from me? And I ended up going getting treats, which I told myself I wasn't going to do at first. But then I got to thinking, like, it's going to be hard if he doesn't get a reward besides, like, me just petting him, because he gets that 24/7 even if he's bad. So I went and got the treats. And if you can't tell, Lenny is very food motivated, especially treat motivation. Works really well for him. So got the treats. You can tell he is following me pretty good, wanting to do a circle around me. He honestly responded extremely well. He is a little pushy. You can probably tell by he keeps going for my hand. And whenever I change directions, just like there, he keeps wanting to like kind of nibble, see if I got anything in my hand. But whenever he does the circles and I say whoa and he's still listening and he's not wandering or getting mad, he's not snipped at me, and he's literally just like wiggling his lips, trying to see if I have anything, if I want to give him anything. So I reward him when he does good. The next thing I start to incorporate is Lenny following me, and this is honestly my favorite part about Liberty work. I love when the horses like chase you and get to do run circles around you, stop when you stop, and all that stuff. It's probably my favorite part and what I'm most excited, because Lenny is such a character and he's so funny anyways. And I don't think he was feeling too motivated today. He didn't really want to jog too much, but he still followed me, which I was impressed. Granted, he didn't follow me any when I didn't have the treats, but you gotta do whatever works for you, you know? The next thing I would go to work on with him is to see if he will side pass to and away from me, because we've been doing this, practicing this a lot with him. And I've had different people doing it with him, trying to just like make sure he has the cue down. And I wasn't sure how well it was going to work without a halter, because I usually use a rail to guide him to keep him from going forward, and then if not, I can like bump on his halter. But overall, I was really impressed. It's not perfectly straight yet, but he's like got the idea down. However, getting him to side pass away from me was quite a challenge. While this definitely is going to be taking a lot longer to get down, and it's not perfect, it's a start, and that's all that matters. And that's all for today's video. Let me know if you guys want me to make this a series, and I will. If not, I might just be giving y'all an update in like another month or so. If you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think.